G'day YouTubers, and thank you for tuning in to today's Verdant video on YouTube. I've actually got not that much memory left to film videos and whatnot, because it feels like, hey, who knows, I've got about 40 minutes left. We can see a wood pigeon that's perching right on top of the trees, and yes, the tree I can just see is a sycamore tree. They're sort of different to silver maples, but I'll talk about birds later on because that will be the main subject of this video. And it's actually going to be a little bit much more of a longer than usual sort of video that I seem to produce, because obviously I tend to produce videos at relatively much more, I'll just say it, at a relatively short and fast pace, despite how rough and ready my speaking is. Right, first things first, we've got some problems with this pumpkin seedling here. Now, when I planted this pumpkin seedling, it actually has presented some problems. Now, the main problem about this pumpkin seedling was that I actually transplanted this thing way too early. So, apart from the freezing, chilly mornings that has caused this pumpkin to really cripple so fast, it's also to do with the fact that, yes, we've got some decaying going on here. So I'd probably presume there's been a lot of aphid, slug, and snail activity around here. Currently, I don't see that many slugs, but I'm getting quite a bit of aphid problems here. There's a lot of aphids around here. Let me just try and take a look at the underside of the leaves. There's a lot of aphids that are around here. I'm pretty sure that's aphid activity. Anyways, let me just go ahead and basically whittle down the brightness, of course. We've got a lot of different seedlings that have been nicely transplanted. We have got what looks like to be a lot of calendula seedlings. I will try and water these guys later on because they really need so much water, I suppose, hey, even though they are supposed to be drought tolerant. I mean, that's what I've pretty much been told by several gardeners alike. And there is the big garden meadow, which has actually taken about a week for them for basically germinating and things like that. You know, that's really nice to know, isn't it? I should probably put more water in these because these calendulas, well, I mean, they do look like they have been drunken so much, but I think because the composts have actually been, well, the composts themselves have been quite dry somehow. I think every couple of, let's say, I'm pretty sure, let's just say half a day or so, I should probably water these, unless if it starts raining. But currently we haven't got any rain at the moment here, very bad news though, we've actually got this calendula seedling that has actually died, I think, which is not that great to know. I just need a couple of more weeks for these plants to mature. We've got some very good news actually. We've actually got this broad bean. We've actually got a couple of broad beans that have actually started to germinate really, really nicely. There's a lot of good germination coming from those beautiful looking seedlings. We've actually got more seedlings starting to germinate. I think that there is a nasturtium, and that one there is also probably a nasturtium, but I can't quite recall or possibly tell. We've actually got a few nasturtium seeds that have been sown in by me, so we've actually got some very good news coming up all along the way. And with that being said, hey, it feels like I do feel like the urgent desire or need to try and plant so many flowers, or even in this case, different plants, because I'm also getting different types of seeds from like vegetables and things like that. And I'm going to go ahead and scroll right over to the left. We've got these beautiful looking flowers, which were in pots, but I've decided to transplant these guys just to see how they would endure in pure soil, and also just to make some space for other plants to create. And guess who's turned up? We've got some beautiful bee flies and other pollinating bees and other butterfly thingies. I think that there is a bee fly. Going by the looks of it, it's supposed to mimic that of a honeybee or a bumblebee or possibly any other type of bee. But yeah, we've got lots of hoverflies and bees and other types of critters that will be flying at this time of the year. And we've got some beautiful songs from different birds. Nice indeed. It's so beautiful in so many ways. I think that bird song I'm getting is a dunnock and a wren. Oh, what's that? Is that a speckled wood butterfly? I've never worked out what butterfly specimen was that. Beautiful to know. And yes, we've got lots and lots of other critters, of course. We've got a lot of like beautiful looking bees and wasps And I've seen quite a few common wasps, European wasps that is. I'll go ahead and fill up some more water. I'll try and water these guys down. And I also want to have a bit of a... sorry about that. Why did I just vlog? But yes, it is quite a nice, beautiful day outside. I feel like I'm just getting covered on sun cream. It feels like a beautiful summer's day outside, even though we're still stuck around late April, which is nice to know. It feels like a heat wave, doesn't it? Well, mini heat wave, because we're not yet up towards the 25 degrees threshold, which I probably presume is a heat wave threshold. Well, minimal heat wave threshold. I would probably say 24 or 25 is the minimal heat wave threshold. And I'm getting like food coverages over my freaking cheeks. I've got food crumbs on my cheeks, which probably assumes why I've just had breakfast. But I'm going to go ahead and start watering some flowers. But yes. Oh, one more thing. Look what I've got in my backyard garden's tool shed. Got some fresh banana fertilizer. Okay. At least I've left the bananas like that. You can also put them in direct sunlight if you want to. I'm just giving you some very brief examples. You can just basically leave it in water and just let it for about 3 days and let the R and K. I'd say the I can't really tell which one is which. The PHK thingy bobs. I can't really tell. There's phosphorate. I don't know what kind of bits of. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm just thinking about different types of chemicals inside, like, you know. Oh well, I'm just gonna fill up the watering can like so. Hang on, let me just turn the camera around. There you go. I'm now watering the flowers with this big buddy here, because now this thing is getting a nice tank full of water. Alright, I should probably stop here, or else I'll start to waste water. Course 7 Trent whenever I need to. And yes, how about if I start filling up some watering can water with something on top, really nice. I might probably pour out some fertilizer. Wouldn't that work? Or would that just be a bit too dangerous? I might as well give it more water as well, just to provide as much extra amounts of fertilizer material if I want to. There you go, nice fresh water for the next fertilizing liquid for the next 3 days. I can just basically wait for about 3 more days for it, I guess. Although I'd probably presumably said that the chemicals, I'd probably presume potassium and other phosphates would probably be inside here. I haven't got a clue. Right, I've got some fertilized water for the plants to actually thrive in. If I do give them too much, that might be a great solution to go for. Right, I'm just going to go ahead and put the tablet down so I can get a very good walkthrough. Or should I just say water through about this? Maybe I can just put it right over here. Okay, that's a very poor standing choice. Maybe here is better. Right, let's just start watering. I'm just going to go ahead and start watering like so. Okay, that there looks good. You may actually probably see me walking at the very background. Well, maybe not, because I'll be watering elsewhere. Or do you want me to actually like bring myself a little bit closely? Right, I'm just going to go ahead and just do a jump cut and start watering the plants right directly as I'm shooting this beautiful amount of footage. Right, let's do it. I'm going to jump cut right now. Okay, I can just hear some beautiful wood pigeons cooing and pooing, obviously. What a very bad metaphor. Right, I'm just going to go ahead and grab my bloody watering can and start watering all of my trusty little seedlings, which have started to germinate so purely and fully and somewhat successfully. Off we go. I have to say, yeah, the sunflower seedlings, I have a bit of a chit-chat of these later on. I think only a few of these are okay, maybe except for this one here. There has been some decays from, like, pesticides and things. Well, I wouldn't say pesticides, actually. It's more like just regular pests, like you know, aphids, you know, slugs and other critters that will come along and eat seedlings like that, which are probably pretty much what I've said as a nuisance. I'm going to water these guys down. Of course, I can... Oh yes, let's give it to the pumpkin. The pumpkin might like this, actually. Who knows, if it's like a really warm day, maybe the pumpkins will be a really successful grower. But because of just how minimalistic the minimum temperature that happens around, you know, at the very early sunrise part of the morning, that pumpkin may never ever bode really well. And I'm thinking I'm straightforward done now. Let's go ahead and have a bit of a chat about the bird feeders. Okay, so most importantly, I now don't use these bird feeders anymore now. I mean, I can, but yes, there's been a lot of chit-chat relating to the RSPB and other companies and other animal welfare groups and organisations that said to me, hey, you don't have to feed the birds during at least around May the 1st to about October, which obviously, it does sort of make sense that during October, I'd say around, you know, when the weather is a bit more colder and less mild, I suppose, when you get really chilly nights, I think during autumn time, that's when you start to feed as much birds. I'm pretty sure, like, you know, in really chilly or really frosty days, I can still feed the birds with, like, seeds and things like that. And so I think maybe it's time to swap. Maybe swap from seeds and peanuts into something like, you know, suet boars. Let's just say somewhat less fatty. Or you can feed them with, like, mealworms, which is probably a bit much more better, I guess. I think suet boars or fat boars and probably mealworms are a better solution than just feeding seeds, because I think seeds, to be honest, they don't actually provide the amount of right nutrients for many birds, probably because I think most of the birds that we tend to get in our backyard gardens, in particularly, you know, our robins and wrens, you know, birds with beaks like that, and even tits. Sorry, I can't even say that word properly, or else YouTube would probably flag that word, couldn't it? The word tits. I'm probably guessing that these birds, if you ever see birds with, like, soft, thin, dagger-like bills, well, they're actually quite razor-sharp, actually, when you think about them. Yeah, I think it's mainly these types of birds, but if you have birds like sparrows and finches, then they're quite reliant because they heavily rely on, like, seeds and stuff. But I think insectivorous diets and things like that are much more favourable, I think. You know, just because, you know, even though it's quite chilly during morning time, I suppose, you've got a lot of insects that are thriving right now at the moment during springtime. And yes, we've got a lot of butterflies. We've got, is that a speckled wood again? Isn't that the same butterfly that I just saw earlier on as part of the video? Quite nice. And it looks like it's camouflaging, you can just see it. But if I go near to it, it might start fluttering away. Oh, I can just see it. Just a stunning little butterfly. It's just camouflaging. Can you just see it? It's actually right over here. Can you see it? It's actually in the middle. I'll go a little bit closely. You can just see the butterfly. One of them might probably get spooked. I'm pretty sure it might probably sense a few things once it gets really, really spooked by a few flies and a couple of other bugs. Or even my hands. Oh! And he's off. He's totally off. I bet there are a couple of other butterflies that are around here. Therefore, they are really much, you know, essential. You know, I mean, they're beautiful, but they're also quite highly essential to Mother Nature. And let me talk about something that's highly essential. I can talk of other things. Okay, at least I got rid of the nasty blackberry thorn that has been thrown away. But it's not yet done. I'm going to have to probably think about it during May, which will be like next week. Blimey ow, look at the sunlight here. It's almost like a hot day. You know, think about it. It's almost like 30 degrees outside. But we are still in late April. It's about springtime that we're still in. So, yes, although it's straightforward warm at this point, we are still getting hints already. We're still carrying a bit of weight from the winter that we had so far, from all of these cold, dreary days that we had during winter time. Yes, spring is nice in the hot, warm sunshine, but then once come towards like nighttime and things like that, and because the skies have been relatively clear and there's not much blanketing going on here by clouds, yeah, that explains to me why we tend to get relatively cold nights during spring. And that also is a problematic issue for various plants like pumpkins. They really perform really badly, I suppose. They actually do perform very badly, of course, I suppose. Right, I'm just going to go a little bit downwards, I suppose. Noticing of how much progression these plants have gone through, I'll see what I can do throughout the rest of next month. It's going to be really exciting from that pinpoint procedure I'll be doing. And basically, from what I've done, it's amazing. It's really, amazing to see why that, yeah, there's a lot of plant activity going on here. And actually, going back to birds, I was just thinking of something else. I was just thinking about other birds that come along and thrive in my backyard garden. Have you actually noticed something that you can't see through the skies? I can't see any swifts. Right, I'd like to have a chit-chat about swifts. I was actually contacting the ISPB about what kind of birds do you have in your nature reserve, and I actually said to them, how many swifts do you have in your nature reserve, or how many swifts have been flying out there at the moment? At the moment, it's still too hard to say. Swifts, they are quite common, but they are one of the fastest declining bird species in the UK, which is really sad. We have actually seen a massive population crash over the last, well, let's just say 70 years or so, and it's really sad that this bird has to actually go up towards, it's now consolidating it down back towards, to the red list, I think. I can't really speak properly, but yes. I'd like to build a swift nest box, but that would actually take a lot of dangerous precautions and a lot of meticulous timing if I was going to be building a swift box. The only nesting site I'm pretty much relying at is pigeons and other songbirds. I could probably buy a nest box for like blue tits, of course, but then I just don't have the right amount of time. Yes, if I was going to be building a swift nest box, I would struggle to, basically find a very good spot for birds to nest in. Let's just say somewhere on this rooftop. I'd say on a rooftop, but then that one might be pretty much dangerous because you've not only got predators like crows and jackdaws to look out for, but I'm also thinking maybe in the future I could probably, even next year spring I guess, if I'm very lucky to have a swift box, I might probably put it, somewhere where there's nothing that's actually obstructing my area. I'd probably say, hey, let's just say if that was a very good spot, let's just say if I'm finding a very good high end spot where there's nothing that's obstructing its viewpoint or obstructing its path, well, good on ya. And we've got a plane that's taking off. I think it's a Ryanair Boeing 737 heading up somewhere towards the Mediterranean. Gosh, fuel prices have been rising because of Donald Trump and that stupid war. Luckily, the ceasefire has now been extended. And, look at this. Right there. We've got a lot of other stuff I have to show you here, eh? I haven't shown you this massive fernland area here. This sort of fern-laden sort of corridor, of course. We've got a Welsh poppy. And we've also got some weird sycamores and more. Oh, sorry about that. We just actually had some footage problems here, eh? I think my camera has started to freeze. That was not a very good sign of me. But luckily enough, I just decided to make this video as it is. So I'm really sorry about the footage. That's causing a lot of problems so far. I don't know what has just happened, but I'm totally okay at this moment, I suppose. Got a lot of forget-me-nots around here. I could be one of these plants, couldn't I? Because I can be quite so forgetful, right? Okay, so yes, that is amazing. Right, I'm just going to go back to my backyard garden and just think of something else. Who knows? What else can I really say? I mean, I would love to build a swift nest box or something, but then I wouldn't do so. I mean, I could have probably thought of buying one at a local RSPB website, something like that. Why am I talking things? All of a sudden, there's a lot of noises like wood pigeons and things. Trying to get into my conversations and things. Let me just do a jump cut and try and reconciliate of what I've got to say here. I actually want to try and vlog here. So yes, I'm trying to think about, maybe as a suggestion, I could probably buy a nest box for swifts. But then, of course, yes, as I said earlier on before, I need to find a very good area that doesn't obstruct anywhere where the swifts would probably nest in, because we all know that swifts are fairly much the sort of birds that tend to sleep on the wing, and they're always fast. They're kind of like boomerang, sickle, crescent-shaped darts. They'll just basically like dart around through skies and things like that, just hunting down insects and things like that. They are sort of closely related to hummingbirds, more so than swallows and martins, even though it's more of a convergent evolutionary thing. It's probably a bit rad when I'm thinking about that. I've been kind of pondering about what kind of birds will I get in the backyard garden. And of course, it's not just common garden birds, obviously. Parakeets, crows, pigeons, blue tits, robins, the sparrows, goldfinches, and dunnocks. I mean, there's so many different types of birds. Wrens, goldcrests. I got a whole bunch of birds in my backyard garden. No, no worries, mate. I mean, I do tend to get the occasional visiting cats. Well, they became frequent because the weather has been nice and warm so far today. And then, occasional foxes. And also, like, other critters like squirrels and rats. Line me out. Right, I'm just going to go ahead and start to end this video here. I'm going to stop and end this video because obviously it's been way too long for me to try and contemplate on making this video. So I'm going to straightforward leave it here. And I'm going to go ahead and do some arts and crafts. So I will not be wearing this when I'm doing toy reviews. But it feels so nice. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. Sorry it's been rough and ready, and sorry about the absolute mishap with my footage. It just got froze by the ways. I need to probably reconsider my camera on the fact that it's getting a lot of problems at the moment. Anyways, I'm just going to leave this video before I get burnt by the utter sunlight that's around here. But I love the sun. It's just wonderful, isn't it? So if you really enjoyed this video, please give this video a very good like. Subscribe for further videos in the future. And as always, thank you so much for watching this video. And I'm really sorry about the footage that has just started to freeze on me because I was filming good. And sorry about the random amount of subjects because obviously it feels like, man, I don't know what I'm talking about. Birds and plants. How can I tell? As always, thanks for watching again and bye for now.